I'm sure there have been times where you've taken caffeine and you felt like you're on top of the world. Or I'm sure there have been times where you've taken caffeine and you felt nothing at all, or possibly worse. Alright guys, welcome back to King's Law Fitness. I've got a very important topic I want to discuss with you guys as usual, so I want you to stick around and pay very close attention. So the first thing I'm going to discuss in this video is how caffeine works. This is very important, so I want you to pay very close attention. So how does caffeine work in the body? It works off of something called adenosine receptors. Caffeine looks very similar to adenosine. Adenosine is essentially responsible for making us feel sleepy and plays a huge role in our sleep-wake cycle. Now when adenosine starts connecting to those adenosine receptors, your body begins to feel drowsy. It is a part of our circadian rhythm. Now, what is your circadian rhythm? Your circadian rhythm is like a 24-hour clock that runs in the background that dictates your sleepiness and alertness at regular intervals. It's also known as your sleep-wake cycle. So what caffeine does is it jams itself into our adenosine receptors, not allowing our adenosine to hook up to the adenosine receptors. So if the receptor cannot get the reception, it can never trigger your brain to get tired. So why does caffeine make us feel good? Well, first understand that this pleasurable feeling is coming from our lovely neurotransmitter called dopamine. Caffeine activates pleasure centers in certain parts of the brain. Drugs like cocaine and heroin increase dopamine levels by decreasing the dopamine reabsorption rate. Caffeine increases dopamine levels in the same way, but to a much smaller scale and a much more natural way. So again, caffeine helps you feel alert by blocking those adenosine receptors and injecting adrenaline into your system to give you that jump start. Now, caffeine can cause issues, or it can promote your lifestyle dramatically. It can promote your lifestyle if you only follow one simple rule: cycle off of this drug. Let me explain. Caffeine shares many traits of those much harder drugs. It has the ability to cause addiction. Most people can't even start their day off without their cup of coffee in order to function correctly. But stopping a caffeine habit may become very difficult for someone who made this drug a big part of his or her lifestyle. Unlike other substances, caffeine is readily available in delicious drinks and sometimes food located in our nearby grocery stores or coffee shops, like Starbucks, which can add on to the difficulty of stopping this habit and can make your addiction worse and worse and worse. Now, when you begin to consume more and more caffeine daily, this is when you start to begin to see negative side effects. Two of the main negative side effects you will likely begin noticing is number 1, insomnia, and number 2, high blood pressure. Because the more of the drug you begin taking in, the more likely you are increasing the duration of the drug in your system, which can lead to increased duration of high blood pressure and more frequent occurring episodes of insomnia. Those are just some of the negative side effects that caffeine can cause, but the other ones are less likely to happen and would take a long time to go over. Now remember, these are negative side effects that can occur in case of substance abuse and excess intake. Alright, so now why don't we go over the positive effects? One of the big pluses of caffeine is the fact that it can increase your metabolic rate. Consuming 200 milligrams a day is known to increase your metabolic rate by about 7%, which means consuming 100 to 200 milligrams of caffeine a day can help you burn 80 to 150 calories a day by increasing your energy expenditure. Now, another huge plus of caffeine is its ability to increase productivity and focus. Some research suggests that caffeine may play a big role in the prevention of late-life cognitive decline and the prevention of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and dementia. Now, NHS guidelines recommend limiting daily caffeine intake to about 400 milligrams a day. To me, 400 milligrams is a lot of caffeine. Personally, for me, I limit myself to 300 milligrams a day, but I shoot for about 200 to 250 milligrams of caffeine per day. To avoid the settlement of addiction to occur, I cycle off of caffeine every 2 weeks for about 3 days. Before I cycle off, I try to lower my intake on the last couple of days before my rest period. This is just what has worked for me, and I would strongly recommend trying it. But there are tons of other methods of cycling off as well that you can find anywhere. Cycling off to me has not only proven that it helps with the prevention of addiction, but it has also helped me retain the sensitivity to the drug, which to me is the whole purpose of taking caffeine. You don't want to take caffeine and then eventually not feel anything. So cycling off is very important. I hope you guys learned something from this video. And if you did, please hit the subscribe button if you wish to see more videos like this. It would also very, very much help me out. Thank you guys and have a nice day.